This weekend, the new Sandra Bullock, George Clooney film Gravity opened in AMC theaters everywhere to huge critic, fan, and box office success. Gravity broke the box office record for biggest October opening weekend, taking in over $55 million domestically, beating out the former record holder, Paranormal Activity 3. It also marks the biggest opening of Sandra Bullock's and George Clooney's careers. Bullock's last best was the opening for The Heat, which took $39 million on its opening weekend, and George Clooney's former best was Batman and Robin, which took $42.9 million. As far as the critics go, Gravity is holding on an astounding 98% rating on Rotten Tomatoes with a 90% audience rating. John, what do you think of Gravity and its success this weekend?
Well, I mean, first of all, talking about, these are some pretty big numbers. I mean, biggest October opening of all time, biggest thing for Sandra Bullock, biggest opening for George Clooney. I heard George Clooney this weekend tell an amazing story because he hurt himself filming Gravity. And they asked him, well, was this physically the most painful movie you had to do? He goes, no, I mean, there was a perfect storm. We had to do a lot of stuff there and got hurt. But he said, I think the most painful was Batman and Robin in that skin tights. But also, I think it was the most painful for the audience, he said, which I thought was pretty funny. Gravity, congratulations. I mean, well-deserved. It is a fun, intense. I mean, I had a lot of people tweeting me and Facebooking me this weekend saying, John, please talk about Gravity. Please talk about Gravity. It is one hell of a theatrical experience. It's intense. It's exciting. I would highly recommend it to anybody. And I'm saying all this great, glorious stuff because I do have one criticism about the film. And one and one only. I love the film. I'm going to see it 2 or 3 more times. I recommend everybody go out and see it. My one observation, without giving any spoilers away, about the film is this, and you guys have both seen it. I wonder if you'll agree or disagree with me. The movie as a whole, already understanding I said all these fantastic things about it, it almost didn't feel like a movie. It felt like the third act of a movie. You know, because you find out in the movie, this isn't a spoiler, you can read this in the synopsis, that something goes wrong on a Russian space station that gets destroyed on a Russian satellite, and it causes all this debris, right? And then, you know, the Sandra Bullock, George Clooney, there's this big race to survive. And it almost felt to me like the third part of a movie where George Clooney and Sandra Bullock go to this Russian space station to investigate some strange happenings up there, only to find out there's this plot going on, and then they defeat the bad guy, and in the process of defeating the bad guy, the space station blows up, which starts a chain of events that we then see in Gravity, right? Because there's not really a story to the movie. There's not really a narrative. It feels, don't get mad at me for saying this, it kind of feels a little bit like a Michael Bay film in some ways, but masterfully done. Masterfully done. I loved it. Super intense. These are great numbers, especially for an October opening. And really, when you think about the career Sandra Bullock and George Clooney have had, it's outstanding. You just saw Gravity recently, Schnepp. What do you think about his success here and about the film overall?
Well, I'm very happy with the success of Gravity. I said a few weeks ago I thought it was going to be a big hit. I didn't think it was going to be this big of a hit. So I'm really excited that, number one, an outer space film, like, it's not science fiction, it doesn't have aliens in it, you know, but it's...
Spoiler.
Spoiler, aliens show up at the end, guys. Just ruined it for you. And it's in 3D, and it's in IMAX, too. But I think it's like a tour de force of not only special effects and modern technology and the use of it in film, but just filmmaking in general. Karan, the director, does some things that I've never seen done before, let alone the opening 22-minute no-cut shot. It's all one continuous flowing shot. It's a beautiful film. It's the closest you'll ever get to being in outer space. Yeah. This is the closest you'll ever get to floating in outer space without any of the, you know, death, fear, oxygen. Some people leave the theater all woozy, but that's about it. That's the closest you'll get to being in outer space. As far as I had a few problems with a few scenes, as far as just some of the dialogue I thought was clunky or whatever, but none of that really matters as opposed to the overwhelming cinematic approach that you just get taken in, and it's a ride film without feeling being like, I never felt I was being manipulated, like, oh, you're in for a ride, you know, but you're literally on a ride. Like, it's a survival film. Like, imagine, you see like the James Franco film 127 Days.
Right, yeah. This
is one of those films, but you know, it's like you have to get from point A to point B, and then from point B to point C, or you're gonna die.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where I've never seen a film like it. I'm gonna see this easily 5 times in the theater. It's an incredible film.
Dennis?
Yeah, I thought it was really good. I'm actually surprised because I had said before that I didn't think it was going to do that well, so it really surprised me that it made like what 50-something million.
55.
Yeah, I was thinking more like 30 or something. I guess I underestimated the star pull of a George Clooney and a Sandra Bullock. Speaking of the dialogue, it's funny because for a movie that has so little dialogue, I actually had wished that it had less. Because there were certain scenes where I was like, oh, I wish, like, let's just sit here in silence, you know? We don't need anyone talking. But yeah, I think it's amazing visuals. It's stunning, and it does give you that feeling that you're in space, because that's the reason why they have all those long takes, is so that you're not cutting, because if you're in space, you're not going to feel like you're going to cut back and forth between certain things. So you're kind of floating with the characters. So I'm very happy for the success. I'm a big fan of Alfonso Cuarón.
Yeah, and this is another one to notch on his belt.
If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to AMC Movie News on YouTube. It's free and a great way to stay updated with all the latest movie news, and check out our daily show, AMC Movie Talk. Also, don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Twitter to stay in the loop for our special prizes, giveaways, and contests.